Hello and welcome to a long awaited episode of It's Just Me. Of course, I'm Brent Fox. Hey, y'all, I am very sorry about the delay. Um, no excuses, man. No excuses. We all have to live life, we all have adverse situations. So, no excuses. I'm just glad to be able to do content right now. And let's just get to it. Okay, so in boxing news, we do have an actual fight taking place this weekend with Jesse Bam Rodriguez versus Antonio Vargas. Um, at 118 pounds, I think Vargas is a defending. Is it? I think he might be a WBC champion. If I'm wrong about that, I apologize. I do not want to be one of these guys spreading misinformation. All right. Um, but they are fighting for a 118-pound title. I think that Vargas, who is an experienced veteran, should provide some sort, and he's defending his belt, by the way, and he should be able to at least present some form or wrinkle that Bam hasn't initially dealt with. And I hope this fight is actually competitive enough to help Bam grow. Now, of course, the winner of this particular fight will draw the interest of Naya anyway, and that may actually set up a fight for, of course, pound for pound relevance at 118 pounds. So, yeah, I would look forward to actually seeing that if I have an opportunity to watch the fight, or of course, I'll just catch highlights and just try to do analysis, maybe just based off of that. Um, in other fight news, of course, Jaron Boots Ennis will be taking on Xander Zayas in a couple of weeks. I believe June 27th is when they're fighting. So that's going to be a highly anticipated and, you know, I would say pretty exciting fight about at 154 pounds. I think that Xander Zayas is probably going to present a bit more than what people actually expect him to against Jaron Boots Ennis, which makes this more interesting fight. So I'm definitely thinking that Jaron Boots Ennis will actually win the fight. I think that it'll probably be a very close decision, but yeah, I think that Boots will probably pull it out. I don't look for any. I don't look for any TKO or knockout or anything else like that. I would probably be very surprised if something like that were to happen. Um, but you know, with boxing, you never know. But I think that Boots just has too much of a skill set, and a skill set is something that you actually build in a gym. And that's not to say that Xander hasn't built himself a respectable skill set as well. He is a champion after all. Um, so I think that the raw talent and also skill set of Boots Ennis is probably going to help him edge out, and I emphasize edge out Xander Zayas. So I think that fight is going to be as good as it is while while it lasts. I think there are probably going to be some ebb and flows in the fight. There are going to probably be some parts of the fight that may be a little bit lackluster or strategic. Um, but yeah, I actually just again see Boots actually just pulling that off. But in other fight news, Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney were in negotiations as far as a fight at 144 pounds. It looks as though, unfortunately, those negotiations fell apart. And of course, um, they both take to social media just kind of explaining their side of the story. this fight, quite frankly, needs to happen for boxing. I don't care who is gonna take the credit for getting it done or how they get it done. Just please get it done. Boxing needs this particular fight. Okay, this is I've written an article to the first black owned boxing publication, the Punch Junkie. Y'all please check that out. Just go to www.punchjunkie.com. Check out the latest and greatest from that. Um, but back a few years ago, I wrote about 5 fights that could actually save the sport of boxing, and of course, Shakur versus Devin was definitely one of them. Now, a lot of people who are a bit on the casual side would probably say that that's quote unquote a boring fight. But if you enjoy the sweet science and how people actually are able to carry out strategy, things of that nature, this is a very good fight for people that appreciate boxing. So that fight actually needs to happen. I understand some of these mainstream media people are also saying that the fight needs to marinate. No, the fight just needs to happen. Period. Okay. Um, People wanted Wilder, Joshua to marinate, and that fight has not materialized up until this point. So, please don't rob us of don't rob us real boxing fans of a real fight that could actually help this particular sport by saying that, oh, you know maybe another business strategy would probably help get this fight more looks or views or whatever the case may be. If the fight actually happens and the fight actually and the and I'm sorry, these two gentlemen actually get in a ring, I think that it's probably going to be a more entertaining fight than what people actually would give it credit for. At some point, at some point, as strategic as Devin and Shakur are, there's a fight that's probably going to wind up breaking out, and I think that's where the entertainment value of that said fight actually comes into play. And you never know with boxing, so there you go with that. Um, whoo I'm so sorry, guys. I yeah, I'm just not gonna stay on that too long. The fight needs to happen. Point blank in period. Um, I'm thinking when yeah, I was oh there could have possibly been like I'm thinking about Keyshawn Davis and his viral rant that he actually did a couple of days ago. Um, just spewing out everything from pay per view, pay-per-view sparring would secure at at all places Jay Prince's gym, which is that's not gonna happen. Mr. Prince is not gonna let that happen. Uh, Boy, if y'all know Jay Prince, that ain't happening. Um, it's he went from threatening to spar Shakur to, calling out other guys such as Lamont Roach, also Brian Norman Jr., just saying that, he's no good or anything else like that. Now, that would probably be a very good fight to actually watch. So if Brian Norman Jr. and Keyshawn Davis actually get it in at 147 pounds, I think that would be great. So, hopefully Keyshawn has actually talked himself into a fight with Brian Norman Jr., and we will see what actually happens with that. So, um, and then if he's able to fight Devin Haney, good for him. I think that unfortunately Devin outclasses him, and You know, I think that if he gets outclassed and he knows that he's getting outclassed and there's nothing that he can actually do, shout out to 7A Sports TV. I think that just like he said, I think that Keyshawn Davis will do something to get himself disqualified. That way he can just say that, oh, I had a mental break, and or at the very least, oh yeah, well, he didn't really beat me. I beat myself. That type of thing. So yeah, I would probably look um for something like that if Keyshawn is actually getting thoroughly outclassed throughout the fight, and unfortunately, I think that might happen. So there you go. Um, there's a lot that's actually going on, just in our world in general. Um, and I refuse to just try to be negative towards the end of the show, but what I will say is this. Uh, and this message is actually to my fellow Black Americans, y'all. There's a saying that I always say when things get adverse and things get tough. You got to be strong to wear these colors, okay? You got to be strong to wear these colors, and that God has actually created us to show the world what taking on adversity and then overcoming that adversity actually looks like. Let's take pride in who we are despite the circumstances. Despite the injustices that we face on a day-to-day basis, despite the fact that we are not given our just due most of the time, despite the fact that there are other people that are almost just as black or just as brown as us that want to separate themselves from us just because of some stereotypes that another group has actually put out on us. And most of those stereotypes, most of the time, aren't even true. Juneteenth is actually going to be next weekend. So my message is very simple. Let's take pride in who we are, Black Americans. And let's love and support each other and show the world what resiliency and what real strength actually looks like. Y'all have a blessed night. This is It's Just Me. Of course, I'm Brent Fox. And, to my Black Americans, of course, love yourself, baby. Love yourself.